feel today? Ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! I'm going to I'm going to When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready. I'm going to We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yap. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yap. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them. He's a man. They can be hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready. I'm going to It's a wrap. Game over.
This game is just getting started right here on the lunch break. We are powered by Jones Media and Entertainment. We're broadcasting live on FireTV, and we are on Roku, courtesy of BS3 TV. If you got a Roku streaming device right now, go ahead and download BS3 TV, and you're going to thank me later because there is a lot of great programming on the BS3 network. And I told y'all, big things are happening. We about to go worldwide on every streaming platform, courtesy of SGA TV. So get ready in my TD Jakes voice. All right, it's Freestyle Friday. You know the deal on Freestyle Friday. We just get loose. And I was telling my special guest, I don't even have a producer today. So I don't have anybody in my ear saying, all right, move on. Go to the next topic. Don't forget this. I ain't got nobody. So I'm just going to bring her in, and we just going to do it how we want to do it. It is none other than Erika, previously Martin, now Cross. Erika, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me here today. I appreciate it.
Now, Erika, I got to tell you, I was telling you off cam that it was a situation with you where I was like, oh, for real, don't let the smooth taste fool you. Because you were an All-American candidate at Mizzou, University of Missouri. Tell us about that and what you did and how well you did it there.
Sure. So long time ago, when the Big Eight was still around, I was at the University of Missouri, 1992 to 1996. And I think my story is pretty interesting. And that I came from a high school where I played a post. All I knew how to do was drop step. If I was playing today, I don't think I'd make it to the next level because I was the big. They treated me like a big, rebound, shoot layups. That's it, right? And you transition to college, and I'm no longer the big. And I have to learn to face the basket and do some things differently. So when I arrived, still coming the big man on campus, coming to a prestigious university and having to develop my game is a very unique situation. I had to learn how to face the basket and do some different things. I didn't play at all my freshman year. If we were winning by 50, maybe I'd come in for 30 seconds at the end. I got to the point where I just held my head down. I didn't want her putting me in 30 minutes or 30 seconds because it's embarrassing. So I had to go home after my freshman year and just reevaluate who I was as an athlete and change my game. I went back. I started my first game. I started every game after that and ended up, being the 6th leading scorer in school history. So, to me, that's crazy. That's crazy that you can come in and not play at all and then have such an impact on the game. I was no longer a post. I was a small forward, power forward, and I did things differently.
Yeah, we are glad to have Erika Martin Cross with us here on the lunch break. And it's our Freestyle Friday. And you know what? You just already helped a lot of people. So I used to be on a Christian radio station, and it was
Okay.
always about helping people. That spirit has not left me now that we're on a different network, because a lot of folks look at where they are and they forget that that's just might be a paragraph, might be a sentence, might be a chapter, but it doesn't have to be the end of the story. You had to do some adjustments, you had to make some detours, but it ended up working out for you. What did you do to learn how to handle the ball and to face the basket and to do more than have just a drop step?
Sure. When I went home for the summer, the high school boys coach let me practice with the boys, and I think that was a huge difference. Because a lot of girls teams are a little bit softer around the edges, and you step into a boys practice, and it's whatever happens happens. I was fortunate that they treated me like a guy. They let me play, and they played me hard, and so that. And along with just kind of a mindset adjustment, a lot of times we'll just start to feel sorry for ourselves, but it's how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to play? Do you want to keep playing? Because I told my mom at one time, I said, I'm not going back. She said, where are you going to go? Because you're not staying here. So,
Wow.
I really didn't have a choice. So
Yeah.
I had to go back. And what kind of player did I want to be? And so, really, it was a mindset shift, and something that my coach did, that I think that we neglect today, and I don't think a lot of my teammates took seriously, but I did, was she would make us before a game visually go through what that game would look like.
Okay.
And so, we sit in our lockers, we weren't supposed to talk, and put on your music and just kind of visualize the game. And I actually work with some athletes, on the mental side of the game. I'm pursuing my PhD in performance psychology, and that's one of the biggest things that I try to get them to do, is to visualize the game. And I think that, along with being physically ready, um, practice, going through repetitions, and then having your mindset right, I think that makes a difference. And I really think that's what really transformed my game, because when I look back at the time, it didn't seem like a big deal. It's just what I was doing. But when I look back now, it really kind of seems miraculous to be able to climb from not playing at all to the sixth leading scorer in school history. So
That in itself is amazing. Mike Riggins said, "Hey Erika, that just blessed me."
no, thanks.
It's funny you said something, because my high school football coach
Hmm.
was one of those coaches who was about visualization,
Hmm.
and literally, no more. I want to say 3 to 5 minutes before the game, we weren't allowed to say anything. When we came out for drills, we didn't come out hyped up and bouncing around and what have you. We were quiet. We walked out to our lines. We got our distance. We did our calisthenics. We did our stretching. We did all that. We didn't say a word until the kickoff. And
Hmm.
folks thought we were trying to be uppity and everything like that. But what they didn't realize was there was like visualization going on, but there was that pent up energy that we were
Hmm.
ready to take it out
Hmm.
on that opening kickoff and what have you. So you are really tapping into another level of sports and the psychology of it when you talk about that. When you look at today's game, Erika, both on the men and the women's side, you're 6 feet tall. Are you seeing more bigs playing like they're smalls, or are you seeing smalls playing like they're bigs? What do you see in the game today?
I think for me, what I notice is the bigs having more capabilities at that guard area and ball handling. The game has changed. When I
Yeah.
go visit Mizzou, I'm looking up. I was one of the bigger girls when I played. So the game is longer, faster, more athletic, and you're required to be able to do all of those skills today. Um, you know, most coaches aren't the traditional, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're the post, you're the guard. You need to be able to play all positions.
Yeah.
Especially if the higher you want to go up, you need to have all of those skills intact. So,
Yep. Let me just look at something, because Miss I barely played my freshman year. She had 19 points all of her freshman year.
hmm.
Uh, Sophomore year, she came back. She dropped 521 on an average 17.4 a game. So you made a quantum leap from
Hmm.
your freshman year to your sophomore year. 1.7 points per game in your freshman year, 17.4 in your sophomore year. That's a heck of a step now. I mean, 8 points per game would have been a major improvement. 10 points would have been out of this world. You were at 17. What looked different? What felt different? How big did that basket get in your mind?
I don't know exactly how to answer that other than, I gained a level of confidence in myself. And I stayed in the gym. I'm pursuing my PhD right now, but unfortunately, I wasn't focused on academics as much as I should have been. But you could find me in the rec center. I was playing all the time. I wanted to play professionally. I wanted to be like Mike. Like that was who I was.
Yeah.
And, it's just something when you talk to probably the most elite players, it's just something in them that just draws them to the game and draws them to the ball. And if I'm on the court, that ball is mine. I'm coming to get it however I need to get it. That ball is mine. If I'm guarding you, you're not going to score on me because, that's on me. And so just having that confidence and wanting to be your best and wanting to walk off the court a winner, I just think that all comes into play.
We got Erika Martin Cross joining us here on the show today. She was an All-American candidate at Missouri when it was the Big Eight. Keith Hennig is on. He is a big UT Longhorn fan. We ain't talking about the Big 12 with 8 teams, Keith. We're talking about the Big Eight with 8 teams. And Erika was a phenomenal player during her time there. Erika, you didn't just stop there, though. You didn't stop at that 17-4. You almost averaged 19 points per game that next year and did average 19 per game your senior year. You said something very key. Not only did you develop the skill, but you developed an attitude that you're not going to stop me. I'm aggressive. I can get my shot. I can get to the basket. I can do what I needed to do. How did you develop that?
Definitely playing with the guys. I was watching the NC2As just this year, and Dawn Staley, she thanked the practice players. I thought that was huge. I've never heard a coach thank the practice players. And if you don't have a deep team, you're not going to have a good practice.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of the universities now will bring guys in to play, but that's what I did. I go out to the rec center, I play with the guys. If I felt like they were going to treat me like a girl, I give somebody a hard foul and say, what now? And do it again until they play me, like I knew they could play me. And when you play against guys like that, when you step on the court, with other girls, you're going to be that much tougher.
Yeah. You know what? Just hearing you say that, I remembered when Don said that. I was a scout team player in college. I was never a big time player in high school. I wasn't highly recruited, but I walked on to a program in New Orleans, and the coach said, if I didn't recruit you, I'm not going to play you. So I'm looking for statisticians. I'm looking for people to do this, do that. None of it was football on field related. It was all support. My dad said, you can't quit. You're not going to let him run you off. He has no idea what you went through to get there. And as a scout team player, my job was to help make the starters and the backups better. So to have a coach like Dawn Staley acknowledge the us's, oh man, that's huge. That's phenomenal, because that helped you change your career in ways that I don't even know if you could imagine.
Yeah, definitely. And, practice has to be competitive. And one thing that I talk to girls about right now when, I'm working with them on becoming a better player is, don't take it personal. When you're on the court, you're out there to make your teammate better.
Yeah.
Don't let your feelings get hurt. And one great example of that is my best friend to today. She was the post, Keisha Bonds from Kansas City, Missouri. We were practicing at KU. And we give each other the business. I mean, we'd have black eyes and injuries from practice.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, you are blowing me away. I follow you. I follow your post. You love the Lord. You give God the glory. You helping other people get their lives together, and you out there banging like that.
I do. When you step on the court, it's everything else is set aside. But it's funny because we were at KU and Roy Williams was the boys coach at that time. After practice, we're off the court after we've, made each other better, because that's what we're there for. He was like, y'all are friends? And we were like, yes, sir, we're friends. And he said, oh, because y'all were going at it on the court. And I'm her children's godmother. She's my children's godmother to today. But we went at it. and we became better, and it was very competitive. And players today have to make sure that they can do that and leave it on the court,
Yeah.
and not take it to class or take it home, because you're just going to make each other better.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that. I absolutely love that. Erika Martin Cross joining us here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E. We're broadcasting live on Roku and Fire TV. Roku, courtesy of BS3 TV. Download BS3 TV from your Roku streaming device. Erika,
Yep.
so when you look at today's game, we talked about seeing bigs play like smalls and such. Who's the player or players that you think would have been able to translate their game from today back to your time frame, which is different?
Honestly, I think all of the big name players would have been able to do that. Yeah, I mean, I look back and look at the greats like Don Staley, that were playing back then, and they could definitely play today. When we started the show, I said I don't know what my game would have looked like, because I do think that coaches who only play tall kids as bigs, they hinder them. And I don't think that if you're in a system right now and you're 6 foot in 10th grade, if you're in a system where you can only drop step, that's not the right system for you. You have to be able to face the basket and do everything that everybody else on the court is doing.
Yeah. Erika, let me ask you this, especially given that you work with players from a sports psychology standpoint as well. How important is coaching, and how do you know you've got a good coach, or how do you know if you've got a coach that just
So I was thinking about this earlier. You can see one of my daughters in the background. She played basketball, and she had 6 knee injuries, 6 knee surgeries actually, so she couldn't continue her high school career. And then I have another daughter who also played. The perfect example of that is the high school coach that they would have played for. Great coach, would not take anything away from him. I could have played for him. All the greats could have played for him. My daughter had a little bit of a difficulty because she needed a different kind of motivation, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So it's very subjective, I guess, on what a good coach is. Different with boys and girls. But number one, it's not the system you want to be in if they're limiting what you can do. I took my girls out to Maryland a couple years ago to one of my teammates, my point guard, which I tell everybody I work with, your point guard is your best friend.
Yep.
Period. That's your best friend, no matter what. If you need to buy her lunch or whatever you need to do, your point guard is your best friend. Her daughter actually plays at the University of Arkansas, Saylor Poffenbarger. And I took my kids out to Maryland to be a part of their AAU practice. It was a different practice. If you didn't get picked up at half court, that coach expected you to take a couple dribbles and take a shot. The coaches, we were working with at that time years ago, they, in fact, one of them said to my daughter, "Why did you shoot that? She was open. She made it. That's why she shot it." So coaches that are going to limit kids, those are not the coaches that you want to be under. Coaches that encourage your kids to do everything, and I understand we have to win, and when you're on the court you do whatever needs to be done, but in practice they should be encouraging the post to shoot threes, just like they're should be encouraging the point guards to post up if they've got an opportunity and they're being guarded by another point guard. So really another thing that I was thinking about today is the transfer portal, college.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there next,
right? And so I'm all for it. It is what it is. If you're not happy, you should be able to transfer. I think it does open up something that players really didn't consider. Back in the day when I played, it was rare to see a person lose their scholarship. There was that situation down at Grambling where all the volleyball players lost their scholarships.
Right.
And I think that it's going to change. Coaches are also going to have an opportunity to shop around. If kids are able to leave, the coaches are going to do the same thing to find, what's going to work best in their system, whereas they didn't do that as much as they did before. And I also think high school, I don't know what the laws are in Texas or across the country, but in Arkansas, unless you move 35 miles away, you can't transfer schools. And I don't think that's fair. If there's a school that's heavy on science and I want my kid to transfer so they can be a part of the science program, I could move them. But if my kid is stuck in a system because of their zip code that's not fruitful for them, I can't move them. That, that's not fair. And I think that they limit the kids, really by their zip code. If I have a kid who's a big, and there's three bigs in front of her, and she may have an opportunity to play somewhere else, why shouldn't I be able as a parent to get her in a system that could help her be successful?
I love hearing you say that. We've got Erika Martin Cross. She was Erika Martin at University of Missouri, and she was a 1996 All-American candidate at that time. And she just touched on something that I totally agree with. From the media standpoint, we always talk about coaches are able to leave whenever they want to. You talked about Roy Williams. He left Kansas to take his dream job, North Carolina. All those kids that came to Kansas, I know the administration and the NCAA says you come for the school, not the coach. We know better than that. You come for the coach and you play at the school. Those kids weren't able to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Now they would be able to leave. They'd be able to enter the transfer portal and go where there's a spot available for them. I don't see a problem with that. I hear coaches say, oh, well, now you can't coach a kid hard. As soon as you tell a kid something they don't want to hear, they jump in the transfer portal. I think that is a smaller percentage of why kids are in the transfer portal than what you just said. If I've got three bigs in front of me and I know I'm not going to play, guess what? As a family, we might make the decision to go somewhere else. It's not because you coached me hard. It's not because you yelled at me. That's, minus Cynthia Cooper. We ain't gonna get on that. But, we're talking about just normal coaching. That's not going to make a kid want to just jump up and go somewhere where they're going to be really, really nice to them. Kids want to be coached. Kids want to develop. They want to grow. They want to have an opportunity to go to that next level if that's their desire. So I love that you touched on that. I love that you kind of articulated that in a way that I haven't been able to articulate it. Did I lose you? Erika, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
You're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear us? I'm going to kick you out, Erika, and ask you to come back in. Come back in if as soon as you can. A little technical difficulty with Erika's sound right there. Big Mike, I love what you just said. That's a lie. Coaching him hard is not the biggest reason why kids are going to jump in the transfer portal. He went on to say, I've never had a player leave a school I coached because he was coached hard. Yeah, here she goes. Let's get her back in. Okay, Erika, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Look, I'm not going to say it's that AOL account.
You had to go there.
I did. You. Let me tell you something. I'm one of them guys. You be to knuckle me in my forehead. Stop it, bro. Stop it. So, Big Mike, he was a coach up in the Portland area, and said I never had a player leave a school I coached because he was coached hard. And he went on to say, you're blessing the people. I love how you, as a parent and a former player, can add some texture and context to that many won't get, because it's so one-sided in some cases. Oh, they're just going to jump all over the place because they're getting coached hard, or they're going to just jump all over the place because somebody tells them that they can play, and we're still trying to develop them. I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of excuses. People find it easy to blame the parents and the kids. And a lot of it is not properly vetting the school before you go. Who's in the lineup? Where can you fit in? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. I'm amening you because you are on it.
Okay.
Today. I love it.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so and it just might not work out, but the kid and the parent have to do what's best for them. First of all, they have to. A lot of dialogue needs to take place. I've been a part of a system and seen a system where coaches, I don't have to explain anything to you. I don't have to tell you anything. And so there's many different things that you can consider when it doesn't work out. At the end of the day, it should be amicable. Coaches shouldn't hold kids back. kids shouldn't badmouth programs. Just go on, to the next level in their life and try to make the best out of it. It is what it is now. This is a game. The game has changed. You got NIL. So many factors are coming into play, which is changing the dynamics of the game. And my opinion, we just need to treat each other kind and respect each other's decisions. And if something doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. Who cares why? It didn't work out. So let's move on. Coach, move on. Player, move on, and just do our best.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I always say people from the same womb are not going to always agree. So when you got
Mm-mm.
people from God knows where, other parts of the world raised totally differently, every now and then you get them in the same locker room. It's not going to always be like this. So if they decide to go in different directions, let them. Let them.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the end of the world. There's no shortage of athletes wanting to come and play basketball, football, baseball, you name it. So,
Yeah.
Erika, let me ask you, you touched on NIL. You and your husband have a phenomenal daughter that graduates later on this evening. If she decides she wants to go and play at the next level, and somebody offers her some money to represent their product, what are you and your husband going to say to her?
Take it. Take it. I'm like, you are your brand. And that's what I'm telling kids today. You are your brand. Does it represent something that, you want, you would be proud of? What is it? We would say, what is it? Is it something that you align your values with? Is it something you want people to think of you when they see, the ice cream cone? Is it okay that they see your face behind it? I'm never going to advocate for someone compromising their values for financial gain, but absolutely, if the opportunity comes your way and it's something that is, you're confident in, go ahead and do it.
Yeah. So now let me ask you this, because what's interesting, of course, you're aware of the little brouhaha that kicked up between Nick Saban and a couple of other coaches, because he said A&M bought all their players, and then he had to go on Deion Sanders. They paid a kid $1 million. It's all in the papers, and then he threw Miami in there. What's interesting is since that's come out, there have been, cases where guys have signed NIL deals at a particular school in the South, and they haven't seen any product of it. They see the deals, they see the amount of the money, but they haven't seen any of the commercials. They haven't seen any billboards. They haven't seen any print media or digital media or anything like that. If your daughter said, "Mommy, they're going to pay me $1 million," and you guys don't see any evidence of what she's getting paid for, what would you say to her then?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, we would want to see the evidence. We would want not to put a program in jeopardy. We would not want to, people to question. I think in some places, it's illegal to do things like that. So definitely don't want to get caught up in anything that's not above board. But I don't know if there's agents or who's out there. Just definitely consulting a legal advisor and making sure that we're doing the right thing, because you don't want people coming back for their $1 million and you don't have it, and you don't want to go out and perform all year and then an investigation is done and all that you've worked hard for is taken away.
Absolutely. I mean, with anything, there are bad people out there. There are people with ill intent that want to take advantage. But there are a lot of good folks out there. And I'm in agreement with you. Get an agent, get a financial advisor, get an attorney, and work with your family, because those are the people that will have your best interests at heart and will keep you out of those situations. Is your daughter looking to play on the next level?
No, and this could be a whole show in itself. We had we had this conversation the other day. She actually stopped playing in December because she hyperextended her knee twice. And my oldest daughter had, 6 knee surgeries. And so at that point, she was really kind of hesitating when she played and wasn't really secure in her movements. And coincidentally, one of her friends ended up tearing her ACL a couple months later. And that was something she didn't want to do. She didn't want to get injured. And now she's going to college, healing an ACL. It was really hard for her. But I asked her the other day if she missed it. And she said no. And I'm laughing because I'm thinking of all the AAU summers and money spent and, times spent at the park or the gym kind of working on form. And, I apologized to her. And I said to her, I'm sorry that I pushed you to try to get a scholarship and put so much pressure on you to perform, because I realized for the for her, the game was just fun. It was just something for her to do. But for me, the game is much more serious than fun. It has always been. And I didn't recognize that I probably should just, be quiet and just let her have fun and let her path just kind of play out the way that it would. I don't think that would have changed, her decision to go to play on the next level, but I think it would have just alleviated a lot of pressure and just let her, be a kid and have fun playing the game. And so, I could speak for hours about parents and how, we can support our kids better in their journey and not, I lived out my dream, so I wasn't projecting so much, but I did want the same things for her because I knew the opportunities that I gained from playing the sport. But she's getting a full academic ride. She graduated with a 4.14. She has plans of being a cosmetic surgeon. And so she was successful. And so, that's a regret I have today on graduation day that I just didn't let her play and have fun and didn't talk about percentages and form and, the things that, we kind of get caught up in when we talk about sports. So
now, see, you got me about to make a phone call to my youngest son. We sent him off to prep school in Virginia, Chantilly, and he was a D1 recruit. And right before he came out, he said, "Dad, I don't want to go to school, play basketball." He said, "I want to be an engineer." He's 6'8". Arizona State's after him. Stanford's got some interest, other schools like that. And he said, "I just want to be an engineer." And I'm not gonna lie. You can be an engineer after you play 4 years. They're gonna pay you to play. It's like, "Dad, I've got engineering scholarships. Like I'm good. I'm good." And I do. I have one of the best looking, smartest 6'8" engineer sons in the world. And it took me a while to get there, but part of me felt like, I don't want him to regret having not given it a shot.
Yeah.
But I feel like all the regret was on my part because he's fine. He has never looked back and said, "I wish I had."
Yeah, that's hard. Kind of letting them carve out their path. Because you think about Serena and Venus, their dad pushed them and they became great for that. But that was the call on their life. That's not the call on, my daughter's life. And maybe, not the call on your son's life. And we do get caught up in get your school paid for. Well, my daughter got almost $500,000 in academic offers. She got her school paid for. But one thing I did tell her, she was probably confused all the time. But one thing I did tell her was that if you don't love it, don't go. It's not worth it. Because if you don't love it, don't go waste a coach's time and don't waste your time because you'll be miserable because it's hard on the next level. You sacrifice a lot as a college student to play sports. And so if you don't love it, don't do it. So she said, "I won't."
I love that. Erika, you really are blessing a lot of people today. Erika Martin Cross here on the lunch break, All-American candidate back in 1996 with Mizzou, the Tigers. Is that still your favorite college team? No sooner than I asked, she throws on the merch.
Yes, sir. Look, and I messed up my hair too, and I don't fix it. Yes, I love my Tigers. I always love my Tigers. Good and bad experiences. Some of my best friends are there. Some of my teammates. They didn't like it as much, but I did. I had fun. I excelled at what I did there, and so I love the coaching staff now. Hoping they do well next year, but I always love my Tigers. So
that's all right. I love hearing that because I don't have the same experience from Tulane. I don't, man.
Yeah.
I literally am a member of the Xavier University Alumni Association. I only took one class there. That's where I spent most of my time, though.
That's funny, yeah.
Oh man, Erika, I absolutely love having you on today. Look, let's talk. Have you been watching some of the men's playoffs?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
All right. So Golden State heading back to their 6th NBA Finals in the last 8 years. I have been reluctant to call them a dynasty when I look at what the Lakers did, when I look at what Boston did, when I look at what Chicago did. Am I holding on to that fading hairline? Do I need to let it go and call them a dynasty? You played the sport. imagine going to 6 Final Fours or 6 championship games in 8 years.
Hmm.
Would you call that a dynasty?
Yeah, I would definitely, definitely. They're the
You see
best,
my
and
face? You see
they're
my face?
they're actually, I don't really have a favorite NBA team. For some reason, college sports, that's where my heart is. The kids and the passion, and they're all trying to get somewhere. Um but yeah, I'm definitely rooting for them, and I was definitely like moved by Coach Kerr's press interview the other night,
Yeah.
and that made me want to root for them more.
Yep.
Because I think anytime we have an opportunity to advocate for something or be passionate about something, we should take that opportunity. And what he did the other night really kind of made me, emotional, because we do need to come together and love each other and care for each other. Whether you're a professional athlete, a politician, or working at Walmart, we all need to come together and care about each other. And so what he did, I thought, was phenomenal. And so I'm hoping that they go all the way.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to, I have to admit, that did change things for me. That did change a lot for me. Steve Kerr is somebody that there are times I felt like, oh, you just saying that. But the other night it was like, you know what? That's really what it needs to be about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he said, we're going to go play a game, but that's life.
Mm-hmm.
And those lives have been lost. It did
Mm-hmm.
put it in a different perspective. I'm not trying to get into your personals, but what have you talked to your daughters about, protecting themselves and gun violence and,
Mm-hmm.
and even with them, sex trafficking and that kind of stuff? What kind of conversations have you had with them?
Yeah, so I was actually a part of anti-trafficking task force, so I've been kind of immersed in that for a while. So trying not to scare them, but always making them be aware of their surroundings. I just had this conversation with my daughter Sheridan, that's graduating. We talked about universities and university classrooms, and sitting by the door if you can, because most classrooms don't have two, one way in, one way out. They have, or they only have one way in and one way out. But knowing where the exits are, knowing who you're around. When my daughter took a trip to LA, letting people know where you are. If you start to feel just anything, just say, here's where I am. This is what's going on. Remove yourselves from situations. A lot of kids like to see fights. Like if there's a fight, like leave. Don't be there. Don't be worried about being a snitch. If you have a bad feeling about something, let somebody know and let them check it out. Unfortunately, we've been to my daughter, I was with the first one, but she's been to 2 graduations in the last 2 weeks where there was gun violence. The first one, I called her to tell her there was a fight outside. I'd pick her up on the other side, and I hear gunshots coming through the phone, and I hear her screaming, they're shooting. And then I lose her. And so felt like hours, probably seconds, until she called me back, I didn't know if my daughter had been shot or not. And so anytime they go out, they just have to be aware of where they are. We can't be scared. We have to, go and move around freely and be able to enjoy our lives. But they have to be aware of their surroundings all the time. They have to have a plan all the time. Keep your cell phone charged all the time. Because we live in a very frightening time with over 200 mass shootings, and it's just May. And for her to have been a close proximity to 2 in the last 3 weeks, it's just changed how they look at life. When I was in college, I didn't think about any of this, and so they just have to approach things differently.
Yeah.
With the human trafficking, the same thing. I didn't let my kids stay the night over someone's house unless I've known them for years.
Right.
Don't go anywhere by yourself. Don't leave your drink and walk away and come back. You don't know what someone could drop in there. It's hard being a parent. There's a lot of things that you are responsible for teaching your kids. But yeah.
Yeah. I was telling my oldest son, the talk that we had is totally different from the talk that I'm having with his younger sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And, part of me, gets heartbroken that I have to have this talk with them versus the talk that I had with him, because it was serious. It was very serious,
Mm-hmm.
because he wanted to go to school in the South. He wanted to go to school in the Deep South. And it's like, son, just because the school is right there, because he went to an HBCU, just because the school is right there doesn't mean that everybody around there supports that school. So watch out for this, watch out for that. Friends that are trying to make a scene and big this, that, you don't want to be a part of that. Similar to you, leave, don't be a part of that. But the talk that I'm having with my daughters is, I almost feel like we shouldn't even have these discussions with kids this age about these kind of things. How to defend yourself in an active shooting. How to call for help without being loud and drawing attention to yourself and stuff like that. I'm sorry.
No, it's a reality. We have to protect our babies and teach them the best that we can. A lot of these experiences I've never experienced. So, yeah.
Let's put a little light on when you played. What was the best thing about you playing? What was the best thing about you playing? Not freshman year. We'll let that one go. But sophomore year all the way through your senior year, what was the best thing?
I was high energy. Some people call me the Tasmanian devil. Like if I was going to die for the ball, I was flying across the court for the ball. I was the kid, that was trying to get everyone hyped. Goofy before the game, jumping
Erika,
up,
you are a living oxymoron. You don't look like none of that. You mean you were getting them hyped? Come on now.
Yeah, that was fun. One time I was listening to some music and the heavy metal, and I was, doing what they do, and I had a cramp starting the game, and my coach was so mad at me. I was like, I could barely hold my neck up. But yeah, I like just getting everybody like comfortable and relaxed and, jumping around and being silly. That was kind of who I was. But on the court, I was coming after the ball. I wanted the ball. That was mine. So I was coming to get it.
Big 8. So you played against some pretty powerhouse schools. Who was the toughest person that you played against?
Definitely Tamika Dixon at KU, and I still have a minor issue with her because she got big A player of the year my senior year. She was a junior, and I led the conference in scoring and assists that year.
I was going to say 19 points per game.
And I led the conference in an assist that year as well. But they had a winning season. She's a great player. She ended up playing for the Sparks, and we're friends on social media. But that was KU. Always the biggest rival. I actually went up for a layup at KU, Allen Fieldhouse, and got undercut, and my arms went behind me, and I slammed my head off of the hardwood and broke my nose. I had to have it surgically rebroken the next day. So yeah, KU definitely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not a big Kansas fan. Of course, they got
me neither.
Not a big Kansas fan. All right. So back then, WNBA, I think my Houston Comets were still around. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4-time WNBA champs. Who was your favorite pro player back in the day?
I love Cynthia Cooper. Love Dawn Staley. Those were the players that I love to watch. Yeah.
Dawn, is she building a dynasty? Can she rip off a few of them? I know it's not easy. I'm not one of those guys who gets caught up in the broadcast part of it. And I forget the reality, but can she do something special there at South Carolina, like we've seen at UConn, like we've seen at UCLA on the men's side?
Absolutely. She's already doing it. Yeah. So yeah, that's, they're always going to be at the top. Always. She's just a phenomenal coach. She inspires. She's got that cool swag that is relatable to the kids.
Very.
And I follow her on social media. I'm like fangirling Dawn Staley all the time. Henny, her point guard that went to the WNBA this year, you can see their post and you can just tell that she really cares about her kids and they feel that she cares about them, and that's huge. You'll do anything for somebody who cares about you. If you believe that your coach truly cares about you, that's where you get your buy-in. That's where you get your buy-in, and they're super connected, and so she's always going to have a great program. So
I hope you're right about that. No shade at Gino Ariema or Pat Summitt or anybody like that, I would love to see Dawn go on a run and really just kind of, solidify. Her legacy is already cemented, but, just expand it. It can't be minimized, it can't be taken away, but it can definitely be expanded. Speaking of expanding, the WNBA, boy, they sure have had to let go of some great talent because there's only so many spots and so many teams. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, texting some of my friends like, can we find a team? Can we find some money to buy a team? Yeah, there needs to be more teams. There's so many talented players that are, forced to go overseas. I played overseas for a little bit. It's a great experience. But there should be more opportunities for, women in basketball to play at home, in front of hometown crowds. And, hopefully they'll continue to build their fan base and find opportunities to support them. Maybe the soccer, maybe that will inspire more people to pour into women's sports. I think Kobe's legacy was kind of a kickstart to men athletes supporting female athletes, and I hope they continue to do so, and that they're able to grow opportunities for women to stay home and play.
Yeah,
And I can't help but to bring up, Brittany Griner.
Yeah,
She's got to come home.
Yeah.
She's very fortunate to make, money overseas and play ball. But in the times we're living in today, we have to create opportunities for girls, women, females to play sports here at home.
Yeah, when I say our Brittany, I mean because right up the road, Nimitz High School, got a chance to cover her for her sophomore year on. Knew her dad, and just bring Brittany home. February, March, April, May, June, 5 months.
It's too long.
Bring Brittany home.
It's too long. She needs to be home.
What was that experience like for you playing overseas? I don't want to minimize it. I think loving basketball, and I think how it was when she went overseas. But what's the reality?
Yeah.
What's it like to play overseas?
So I know it's changed since I played, but my reality was I didn't get paid on time. I didn't have transportation. When I hurt my ankle, I was left outside in a wheelchair with my leg casted up for hours. And when I got the opportunity to go home, I went home. I think maybe in a different place, I would have had a different experience. But it can be a great experience. So when I played, they can only have one American on the team.
Okay.
And so I was able to travel and participate in a kind of a national team, and I was able to travel pretty significantly with that team. So that made the experience worth it. But the team that I played with, I would score 40 points and it would be, easy. It wasn't very competitive. So
I got you. Now you're from Arkansas. Was going overseas then your first experience out of the country?
Oh yeah.
How was that from a cultural standpoint for you? How was it like for your mental adjustment?
Being away from family, of course, was hard. But yeah, I love basketball, so that's what I did, and my teammates and the coach, they were fine. They got to experience new cultures. I was homesick, but it was fun. I got to continue playing ball. So.
Erika Barton Cross joining me on the lunch break today. We're about to wrap it up, but before she goes, I got a couple of fast break questions for you, Erika. Okay. So I'm going to ask you these questions, and just first thing that comes off your dome. Okay.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah. You ready?
Yep.
All right. First thing your husband said to you that made you say, "Huh?"
Oh gosh. I don't need directions. I know how to get there. No, you don't.
Worst food that you ever ate overseas?
Oh, I can't remember the worst food, but the best food was a Chinese restaurant. I was in Portugal, and there was a Chinese restaurant. It was the best Chinese food I've ever had. So,
hold on. See, there you go with that oxymoron stuff. I'm in Portugal, but the best food.
But Chinese was.
All right. Fast break. Worst shot you ever took where you yourself said, "I can't believe I did that"?
I never took a bad shot. Next. That didn't happen. Okay.
That's a shooter for you right there. That is a shooter for you right there. Best decision you ever made?
Gosh, playing basketball, going to the next level.
If you hadn't played basketball, what would you have done?
I don't know, because my life has taken so many turns. I work mostly kind of in a profit sector in my life, and so I didn't find that until later in life. I I don't know. I have no idea. My parents were teachers. Probably would have ended up education.
Okay, okay, fair enough, fair enough.
hmm
Um, what would you say to your 16-year-old self today, right now?
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. So if you don't believe in yourself, no one is going to believe in you. So
If you can hang out with anybody from any era in time, any sport, any profession, any walk of life, who would it be?
coming on here today, it'd be Ray Lewis. It was so hype. That was my kind of energy. Like I love that. But of course, Kobe was one that came to mind. I just love everything about Mamba mentality, and how he became to be the great player. Michael Jordan. I I love all the great basketball players. So I'd actually like to be in a room with like, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and just see, them going back and forth. Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, all of those guys, just hanging out with them. I think that'd be super cool. So.
If you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, anything my mama cooks, her chicken and dressing, her greens. My mama's from Sweet Home, Arkansas, and she can throw down.
I can
So,
believe it. Look,
yeah.
I'm tasting it in my mouth
hmm
already. If you could choose to be left-handed or right-handed, which would you have chosen?
And I could shoot with both. So, I'm righty though. So, right-handed.
If you could have been any height based on your choice, what would it have been?
Probably like 6'2", 6'3", a few more inches. So,
So you felt like 6 feet was.
yeah, just give me a little more stretch. So, these girls are dunking today. There was one time my neighborhood. I got a lawn chair. I dunked it on my neighbor's goal, brought the whole goal down. I thought my mama was gonna kill me. So if I'd had a few more inches to maybe slam that ball down, that would have been
Baby Shaq, baby Shaq.
hmm hmm
Eric,
swinging from the so,
I thank you for making the time for me today and hanging out with us. I love what you're doing now. Tell everybody about what you're doing now and how you're helping people differently than you did before.
Sure. So I'm pursuing my PhD in performance psychology, and I'm actually writing my dissertation now, related to sport motivation in college athletes. But I do work with especially girls in high school and just helping them develop the confidence and that mental side of the game, and helping them understand what flow state is. So, in order to get to that flow state where you're your peak performance, having the physical strength and having the mental strength and all of the preparation and having that line up, and so that's my passion, helping kids become better at what they do, and all of those skills are transferable to the classroom, to home life, to your social life. So
Yeah. What's interesting, I'm reading an article by Tyler Green from the Post Dispatch,
mm,
Columbia,
mhm,
Missouri.
mhm. I know
He's
that name.
Yeah, he said Erika Martin seems to be striving to prove a theory. Martin Jr. is an outstanding basketball player at the University of Missouri, but by her own admission, she's different. A typical Martin performance includes 20 or so points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a few steals, a three-pointer or two, and about 4 or 5 plays that leave you wondering not how, but if she really did that. And she has done it all with a torn cartilage in her wrist that
hmm
could require surgery at the end of the season. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I did have surgery at the end of the season. Something clicked when I got on the court. It's really unexplainable because I would look at highlights and be like, where did that come from? Um, but it's a lot to do with energy. and how you play the game. And if you look, now everybody plays different. Some are calm, cool, collected. Um, Sophie Cunningham playing at the Mercury, University of Missouri. Hype. If you just watch her style of play and the energy that she brings to the game, and people who play with that energy, they often leave you wondering, where did that come from? And so, I always felt like I was different, whether that was good or bad. Um,
I love it. I love it. And then you were on TV with, was it the NAACP you did something with?
mm, yeah, how'd you know about that? So
Oh, I did a little research. Did a little research.
yeah, so homelessness. I've worked with homelessness, McKinney-Vento, which is a federal law that protects kids experiencing homelessness in the schools. And so, before I moved, I worked a lot in the homeless community, and would get calls in the middle of the night when they identified someone who was experiencing homelessness. And so they asked me to come and talk about what that looks like in the community, and the resources available. And so I did that.
Erika Martin Cross, you are officially amazing. But you knew that.
Oh, thank
You knew
you.
that.
I just do my best. I think service is how we pay our rent here on earth. And so, that's part of my responsibility, all of our responsibilities, to help where we can, whatever your passion is, if it's pets or sports or kids or whatever, just find your place and do a little something.
We got to have you back on. Want to have you
Okay.
back on with your daughter.
Hmm.
Nice topic that I think will be
Hmm.
good discussion when we do.
Hmm.
So you let me know when she's feeling better.
Okay.
Enjoy every bit of your daughter's graduation tonight. Tell your amazing husband we said thank you for letting us borrow you for an hour. And again, Erika, thank you for allowing us into your space and you into ours.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. I appreciate it.
Can you let everybody know where they can find you and follow you? Because you are a great follower on social media.
Oh, I don't even know. Do you know my name?
I do.
Yeah,
I
why
do.
don't you do that?
Erika.Kenyetta.
Yeah,
Erika, ERIKA dot KENYETTA on Instagram. And again, she is a very good follow. So, my friend, you take care. Have a great rest of your day. And again, enjoy that graduation tonight.
thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. You too. Man, I enjoyed every bit of that, y'all, on the lunch break. She is phenomenal. We got to have her back on because she and her daughter have something that they, kind of, we were talking about presenting today. And unfortunately, her daughter wasn't feeling well, so we'll have her back on. But Erika, man, to go from 1.7 points per game her freshman year to almost 18 points per game, all the way up to 19, just short of 20 after that. All-American candidate at Missouri. I mean, and all that prepared her for who she is today and what she's doing to help others. So I got to tell you, that was one of the fun interviews that I get to do on this show. All right, so let me go ahead and once again remind you to keep the families in Uvalde and Buffalo. A lot of folks feel like Buffalo is being forgotten now. Never forgotten. Never forgotten. Keep those families in your prayers. Keep Ukraine in your sincere prayers. And I'm not talking about the little trite stuff, thoughts and prayers. I'm talking about fervent, effectual prayers of the righteous availeth much. And like she said, be kind to one another, man. Be kind to one another. It's not hard to be kind. You don't have to be the same race. You don't have to be the same nationality. You don't have to be the same denomination, but you can be kind. Be kind. My mom used to tell me, you don't have to be the smartest in that school, but you're not going to be mean and nasty. You're gonna be kind and courteous. So please do me a favor, do that. And that's why I always say, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I truly do love you, and there is nothing you can do about it except for meet me here. Well, I won't be on Monday. I'll see if Coach will do a show, but meet me here on Tuesday. Meet me here on Tuesday on the lunch break. All right, so got a couple of other things I got to get on before we go, so y'all don't hang up. But check this out.